Alright, now let's talk about the best weapons and perks to use on the MSK fight. I know there's already a bunch of videos out there that talk about the best perks for these weapons, but I want to focus specifically on the perks for the MSK fight, because I think they're a little bit different from what you see out there. So for the Storm King's Wrath, this is the best weapon to use on the crystals. It's the best weapon to clear the little husks, and you can even use this on the mini-boss. Like, you don't necessarily need a Potshot. So this really does it all. And the way you want to perk it is crit damage, crit rating, physical, because the mini bosses and the husks, they're always physical, and I guess the crystals are physical too. So physical damage, crit damage, and fire rate. And this is the most important perk, and I see a lot of people have like a damage perk in here instead, but you really need this fire rate perk. So on the MSK fight, the crystals are only up for a certain amount of time, right? I don't know however long it is, a few seconds. And you want to be able to get as many shots in on that crystal as you can. And even during the fight, he spins when the crystal is up, and you want to be able to tag that crystal as he's spinning. So you really need this fire rate perk. And during the fight, you're going to be dodging meteors, dodging husks, dodging his laser, dodging the mini boss, dodging takers. So you want to be able to get as many shots in as you can while you're moving around. And so this fire rate perk is really important. So don't forget this. And there's also this heat capacity perk that's you can choose, but you don't need that. Just double equip wraths and switch to the other wrath when the first one overheats, right? Especially when you're charging up the special attack on the wrath, it's going to overheat your weapon. So you should have a second one to switch to use while the first one is cooling down. All right, so for the De-atomizer, this is the best weapon to use on the end phase. It does, I think, a lot more damage than people realize. The main ball that this shoots out, I've seen that hit for over 1 million, right? It can crit for over 2 million, like if you're kunaiing, you got warcry and stuff. And then the little balls that this thing breaks into, all of those little balls, I think it's like 8 of them or something, maybe even more, those can all crit for close to 1 million themselves. So you're doing millions of damage per shot with this De-atomizer during the end phase. So this weapon you definitely want to use this during the end phase. And you'll perk it like this. So energy damage is locked to energy. Crit damage, crit damage, crit rating. So just like straight up damage. You don't need a heat capacity on here for the same reason like you do on the Wrath. Just double equip De-atomizers and alternate shots, kind of like the double pump technique on BR. So shoot one, switch, shoot the other, switch back, because you can fire them a lot faster that way than just staying on a single De-atomizer, and it prevents them from overheating. Also, when you switch back and forth, I've seen people put, instead of crit rating down here, they have the bonus damage to miss monsters and bosses. Like if they're always running Totally Rockin' Out, or when they're trying to solo MSK with Totally Rockin' Out. But I think this is just a better overall setup for the average user. So I like breaking it like this. And then the Potshot. This is the best weapon to use for the mini bosses. It just does so much damage to them. If you perk it a certain way with all crit damage and you're using Totally Rockin' Out with wafers and kunai, you can two-shot the mini boss. And I think the mini boss has close to like 20 million life or something like that. So two-shot it is just crazy. But I like breaking it like this. I think this is just the better average loadout, for your average loadout. Crit damage, magazine size, and we'll talk about this one. Physical, crit rating, damage to miss monsters and bosses, and affliction. And we can talk about this too. So for this perk, the magazine size, I've seen a lot of people use reload speed, and I used to use reload speed, but I've since switched to magazine size. With magazine size, you get 3 shots per pot shot instead of just 2. And during a single kunai, you get to fire all 6 shots. Instead of if you just had the reload speed, you can't fire the 4 shots and reload and still be in the same kunai. So I like the magazine size better because you get more shots in a single kunai. And on average, I need more than 4 hits to kill the mini boss. Like when I'm duoing MSK and I'm on mini boss duty, so I have to take out the mini boss by myself while my teammate is focusing on crystals. And sometimes, even I fire all 6 shots, I still have to finish off the mini boss with my wrath. So I know it sucks to have the slower reload speed when you're done with the mini boss and you're trying to reload them, because you can't build, you can't get hit by like a smasher, you can't get hit by MSK's reset. That all interrupts the reload speed. But I feel like that is a fair compromise to having more shots in a single kunai. So I like this magazine size better than the reload speed. And just like the other weapons, you should be double equipping these. Like, have 2 of them, alternate firing, just like the double pump technique. And then the 6 perk, Affliction. So the other 6 perks on here, these ones where you stand still to get some bonus damage, these are useless in the MSK fight. Like, I don't care if somebody's like, oh, I'm going to stand still and get this bonus. If you're standing still in the MSK fight, you're doing something wrong. Like, you should be jumping over or padding over to the mini boss, kunaiing, and then firing your pot shots. You're never going to be standing still to get these buffs. So these are just dead perks. So you definitely want Affliction on your pot shots. And I've seen these Affliction ticks for non-crit, it's close to 80,000, and when it crits, it's well over 100,000 per tick. And when you're firing like 6 potshot balls at a mini boss, if for whatever reason he survives the 6 shots and he gets away from you, this Affliction is most likely going to finish him off. So I really like Affliction on here than these dead perks. And then for the melee, the best weapon for the Horn is the Storm King's Fury. And you want to make sure you evolve it as Bright Core, Obsidian, Bright Core, instead of Sunbeam. Because you know how the Horn is that weird environmental object, kind of like a car or like a rock. Bright Core and Sunbeam do the exact same damage to the Horn. The only difference now is the Bright Core swings faster than the Sunbeam. So it being Bright Core is just strictly better than Sunbeam for the Horn. So make sure you make it Bright Core. And then I have mine perked like this. Crit damage, physical, attack speed, and crit damage. And that's because I use this with Totally Rockin' Out often. And so I don't need a crit rating perk down here. That's the other one where you can have crit rating instead of this 3rd crit damage. But I think it's fine to just keep it as triple crit damage because you have Guardian Bull on your loadout, which gives you crit rating already. So you have here. You have a this is the triple crit damage Fury. You already have a 39% chance to crit with no crit rating on it. I do have a crit rating Fury that I'll sometimes reperk my schematic as crit rating and craft a few, and then reperk it back. But that's only because I have like so much reperk, like 183,000 reperk, so I don't even notice when I use it. But if you are gonna have to keep it as one setup, I'd probably just keep it as triple crit damage, just so that it's useful with Totally Rockin' Out. You don't need this extra crit rating. When you have Totally Rockin' Out active, this extra crit rating, it's only like an extra 1% chance to crit because you have so much crit rating from Totally Rockin' Out that it's fine to just keep it as triple crit damage. And then if you don't have the Fury, then you can use the Surround Pound, and here's the perks for the Surround Pound. Same logic to have it Bright Core instead of Sunbeam. And then crit damage, physical, attack speed, crit damage. And so this is the slot where you would have crit rating instead, if you wanted to, instead of damage. I just like damage instead of crit rating. So, but you can pick crit rating if you want. It doesn't really matter. And then I guess quickly I'll show the heal pads. This is easy. You just all healing amount on your healing pads. This last one doesn't really matter. I have heals attached here because I use it when I'm jailing. Like on my Quad Atlas video, you saw I use these to heal the pyramids, like the ramps on the pyramids. This doesn't really matter for MSK. Just make sure it's all healing amount. And that's about it for the schematics for MSK. And I hope this video helps.